Guitarists spend years obsessing over motions, faster BPMs, picking angles. But there's something almost no one ever talks about, yet it changes everything about how speed picking actually works. But first, what if the hardest part of speed picking had nothing to do with speed? Think about it, if speed picking were only about hand motion, then everyone who practiced hard would sound great, right? But they don't. And why is that? You learn a picking pattern, you play it clean at speed, but the moment you put it in a solo, it sounds disconnected, like it doesn't belong. The problem isn't your technique, it's that the phrase has no place in the solo because it sounds like an exercise. That's what Charlie Parker figured out. He could run scales faster than anyone in the room, but he knew scales alone don't move people. The secret was in the phrasing, rhythm, tension, and the surprise. That's why his fast lines never sounded like exercises. This is just the beginning of the method, so stay with me because I'll show you something truly important. This is a classic speed picking pattern. You have seen it everywhere, and don't get me wrong, it's very useful to practice the technique and to improve your speed, but it's just that, an exercise. It won't be a great fit into a solo. See, if you want your speed picking lines to fit into a solo, you need to learn to play with patterns and turn them into phrases. Let's start with this one. It sounds super complex, but it's just a collection of patterns. Let's dissect this phrase and let me show you how it is created. Here's the first pattern. Now this is the second pattern. And this is the last pattern, the third one. Now here's another example I created using a chain of patterns. Now we have licks that have movement, melody, and are going somewhere. But here's the thing, even if you create the coolest picking runs, they will still sound disconnected unless you fix this. You work a lot on your fast runs, but it feels like you're just throwing them in at random, because there's no plan for where the run is supposed to go. In isolation it promises to sound cool, but once you put those phrases in a musical context, they don't sound great anymore. You thought maybe everything would somehow come together, but it doesn't. What if the real key to musical speed wasn't how fast you play, but how well you place each phrase in context? Over 2,500 years ago, Sun-Tzu wrote The Art of War. He warned against generals who rushed headlong into battle. They had the strongest soldiers, the fastest horses, but if they charged without a plan, they were destroyed. The enemy that way chose the ground and forced them into mistakes always won. Sun-Tzu wrote, "He who is prudent and lies in wait for an enemy who is not, will be victorious." It wasn't the fastest army that won, it was the one that used speed with strategy. Context is key, so now let's find a place for the licks we learned in section 1 into a solo. Here's another example using a very similar lick but in a completely different genre. Here's another example. See, these speed picking licks are there, in place, sounding great, they have a purpose, and they doesn't sound like an exercise. Try this in different places of a solo, see what different effects can create in different sections, experiment. Now ask yourself this, can you improvise a fast picking run in any given context? You can collect 100 fast licks, each one feels impressive on its own, but being able to drop a fast picking lick at any given moment, that's a totally different skill. In Persian tradition, apprentices learn every note in carpet weaving. Some tie them perfectly, row after row, but the result was just a rag of knots. The masters weren't judged by single knots, they were judged by how those knots form a pattern that told the story. Without a larger design, even perfect knots meant nothing. If you've been playing guitar for a while, you'll probably be able to drop some cool licks here and there in a jam, or improvise a cool solo over a backing track. But most of fast practice are fast runs isolated from the music they are supposed to belong to. So we never learn how to improvise or drop fast runs into an improvisation like we do with our beloved pentatonic licks. Why? Because we didn't practice doing it the same way we practice playing pentatonic licks over a backing track. That's simple. That's the real method in speed picking. The run itself isn't the point, it's the ability to come up with speed picking phrases that fit solos at any given time. Here's the deal, playing fast runs in an isolated way, you'll become a killer exercise player, but you'll have a hard time finding a place for those phrases in your solos. Playing those lines as part of a solo, that's how you start to merge what you like to play with how you like to play it. Being able to improvise using speed picking, that's what you should aim for. But even if you do all this, your speed will still suffer if you don't fix this one thing. Watch this next video, I'll show you exactly what kills your speed.